Hi guys, War 11. I've got a story for you while I drag this out, and you can see for yourself who I pick and what lane I take, as if you can't guess already. Last night my mother-in-law tried to poison me by unknowingly putting a load of really hot sauce in some chicken wings in a bit to make them spicy, and nearly blew mine and my father-in-law's head off. I've not been very well today. I don't feel great, and I sucked this war. As a result, I only sort of had 4 fights stuck to the path, as I really didn't feel up to doing much else. Coming up to spot today, I also managed to demonstrate here that perhaps I've handicapped myself a little bit. I usually take this node. It usually allows for me to just take Titania, I stick to buff immune and play it as a stun immune fight. I can remember probably twice in the last couple of seasons where I've had a champ that isn't buff immune and used a Wags pre-fight, or also played it stun immune. I went in today thinking I can parry, get a couple of heavies off, play it as a normal AA fight, and by the time the placebo gets onto me, I'll be able to parry at normal length, not realising that it just simply stays at the reduced length it already is. As you can see, the fight's not going very well for me. I didn't have the greatest RNG, although quite frankly it's not an excuse. And Spot quite frankly slaughters me, which was a great start for my not feeling great, and it's always wonderful to die on literally the first node in a war, where we really needed to do well today. And yeah, you go, didn't go so well. I revived, went back in, played it slightly differently. I had learnt my lesson, but hadn't realised the specifics as to why, so I simply just tried to play it relatively stun immune. I went for the parry first, as you're going to see, got better RNG with more bleeds, and then didn't try to parry again until I had some poisons on him. This spoiler alert, this fight goes a lot better, although still not ideal. I still had my heart in my mouth here, and my chest was beating very fast by the end of the fight, and I was just pleased to get out of this alive. I've taken this fight not against Spot, I should add, 1,000,000 times, but taken the node 1,000,000 times, and only today learnt a very painful lesson. But every day is a school day. Spidey Supreme I was a little bit nervous about. Again, I've taken this fight in previous seasons with Titania like it's absolutely nothing. Yet before I started recording, he killed me a couple of times, once in pre-season and once in war season. For some stupid reason I tried to block the SP2s and it killed me off even with full health. Today dying to him was not an option, and this was very much a get my own back fight. Playing properly rather than like an idiot. He goes down really quickly, as you can see. And now, without taking any minis, I literally just wanted to get everything over and done with today, in and out, a simple war, so I literally just stuck to my lane, as I said earlier. Going into Doom, we all know that I don't like fighting him, but I felt good on him today. Improved my handling of how I fight him, and just, learnt my lessons, let's say. Felt pretty good about the fight, as good as I could feel today anyway. And it doesn't all go too badly. At some point he gets a shock on me and manages to stun heavy me, which hurt a lot, and I think that's also what used up my invulnerability boost. I just wasn't taking any chances, especially after what happened against Spot earlier in the war. I could barely get my thumbs to work today in following up that combo, and that's what cost me eating that heavy. Also realising that watching it back, tanking the SP1 like that is also what used up my invulnerability boost. Bit of a waste, to be honest. I just wasn't really thinking straight today. I had absolutely no intentions of getting to an SP2. I'm aware I could have used my Haymaker and got a combo off, or used my SP2 already, but I wasn't about to deal with it. Decided to be brave and dex a bunch of SP1s instead. In a minute I promised to use my SP3, there you go. He was going down a little too slowly for my liking though, and I was starting to get a little bit shaky. And I couldn't even pummel it. I've got a lengthy haymaker here, which frustrated me because normally, as you know, I'd pummel them into the ground during that, but I just did not want to push them to an SP2. I didn't want to be dealing with it today. My officers, when they watch this, will fully take the piss out of me, but just bring it on, I say. I was just glad to get out of this alive. During that SP2, I remember thinking, please don't get him to an extra bar. And finally, after what felt like an eternity, he goes down. To finish off my war, went to Domino with Nebula. We saw how well it went last war. Felt absolutely good for it today, although Domino was the stingiest I've ever seen her. Not that I wanted her to throw any specials before I got her to 2 bars anyway. And now here, just trying to bait out the SP2. It just wasn't happening, and I was getting further and further back towards the corner. Still waiting, and we're at the point where I think I'm backed up against the wall. She's almost at 3 bars. I didn't dare try and dex after my form today, so I decided just to block it. There we go, got the parry off. And she's ticking down at 23 and 20k per tick. She had no chance. Really good result from our guys today. Although just a little bit heartbreaking, as my BG, as you saw, had 1 death only, and if it wasn't for me, we'd have had a first donut of the season. But I'm sure I'll get over it. We move on to the next. We're back in T1, and we go into the final war full of beans. See you guys.